result, has to be starting the key important players in that particular in any game we get to play. The likes of Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Cyril Desert as well, and also then from the bench you can probably bring some of the talented lads to come and trying to finish up things, from where the senior guys starting in that particular game. So, right, the coach has been, for me, I call him the football visionary. He knows how to do things. All he has to do is to give him time. Looking at the CV, from Portugal as well, and also for Ecuador, the team he coached, right? But this man is very talented. We the fans, we now, get carried away by, saying, fine, judging managers in just 2 games as well. Just why not give us a Pizarro probably a year to see how he can probably transmogrify the fortunes of Nigeria for us and probably take the national team to the next level. We've seen glimpses of hopes, in the game against Southampton Principe. It's been a very long time since Nigeria scored 10 in a particular game, and right in that particular game, Victor Osimhen scored a hat-trick as well. So it's something glorious for Nigeria national team as well. I feel we have the talent. So the best way we can get the best out of this particular talented young lad has to be, involving more friendly games. In more friendly games, you get to know how these players play. You get to understand the communication, the link up, especially up front, has been very poor. From the likes of Calvin Bassey trying to link up with the attackers as well. So, right, it's something the coach really needs to work on. How can he do that? Is to play more friendly games, not only anyhow friendly games, probably quality friendly games, so we can get to the next level as well.
Right now, he's had lots of friendly games. We're not involved in competitive action, a lot in 2022. So now those friendlies, well, an average football fan would, maybe be thinking, well, that should have afforded him the opportunity to try out the Nigerian players has had the opportunity of working with and discovering who our best legs are. You think he's been able to do that so far in a short time here in Nigeria as coach?
Well, brother, I think he has identified some players that can definitely give him what he wants when it comes to competitive actions and in terms of bringing something to the table. But at this point in time, we can't possibly bank on quality friendly matches because friendly matches do not come on a daily basis. It comes occasionally, it comes seasonally, it comes out when the FIFA opens door for that. But we've played Portugal, we've played against Algeria, and we've had some outings in friendly games, and we have also struggled. But in terms of players' identification, I think he has assembled great players. But the ability to integrate these players into a team, ability to integrate these players into a kind of a revolution, a setup that can definitely bring glory to the table is the problem. Not the players, but the team. Assembling players is not a problem. We have them. We have Terry Murphy. We have Cyril Desert. We have them, to mention them, but a few. He has identified the player. But the problem now is the structure on ground that will enable these players to be integrated into a good and sophisticated team. Is the problem on the part of Jose Pizarro.
Right now, well, looks like qualifying for the tournament in Ivory Coast won't be much of a problem for us, Mari. We sit top of Group A with 6 points from 2 games, scoring 11 goals and conceding just once. Now, victory against Guinea-Bissau in a double-header clash will automatically see a qualification to the tournament slated for Ivory Coast. Now, beyond the vein of qualifying, Jose Santos Pizarro has talked about his target heading to the next AFCON, which ultimately is winning that particular. But how we qualify will also send the message across the continent of Africa as to what we're going there to do in Ivory Coast, doesn't it?
Yeah, Bright, agreed, basically, because, once you qualify in a dominant fashion, it gives, the teams playing against you, the message that, of course, you've got a lot, to offer in the competition as the AFCON, basically. So, well, as you said, we never had questions. We don't had issues qualifying from, AFCON tournaments, for AFCON tournaments, basically, but the tournament proper has always been a problem. Look at what happened, just a couple of days ago, just a couple of months ago, rather, where we were unbeaten in the group stages, went on to lose to Tunisia, basically, despite having a fine route through the qualification. So I'm looking at, the Super Eagles team and, of course, thinking about Pizarro. I hope he understands, the task at hand, the demands of the job. Obviously, they've been underperforming in the friendly games they've played so far, and then we've talked about giving Pizarro a long time, basically, to get to gel with the boys and, of course, assemble the best set of legs for the AFCON. But, of course, competition starts in proper, and, of course, I believe he's had a blueprint. Blyden over time has not been, a man that fancies his philosophy, hopefully, but I just think that the man has got a lot to offer the national team, and I think he has to prove me right and prove Blyden wrong when the AFCON starts later next year.
Right now, Blyden, let's talk about Jose Santos Pizarro still. Now, you think under Santos, under Pizarro rather, we've seen a consistent starting 11, and if not, how long do you think we'll have to wait as a country, football playing country, to and how much time will Pizarro need to gather us and provide for the country a proper and, of course, a consistent starting 11?
Marizona's friend. For me, when I look at Pizarro and look at the Super Eagles, I see a team in shambles. A team that doesn't seem to have a particular direction it's going. That's the way I said. But I did like what Pizarro said at the time when he said that he wants to win the Nations Cup. I hope he can still say that right now. And afterwards, he talked about building a solid team that many countries won't be able to face. And I remember a certain Thomas Tuchel at the time who said a similar thing and afterwards was sacked. But here's the thing for me with the Super Eagles. It's hard for Pizarro to have a first 11 at the moment because he's still trying stuff, playing some difficult games and trying this other player, And, well, barely 6 months he's been around. I think it should be up for him to be able to find some favorite players. I know Alexi Wobi is a favorite player, one way or the other, and he's still having that parley between Eko and Pogoma right now. And it's been Terry Murphy has been his main player up front. So we can picture a few players up there that are his key players at the moment, but the numbers are not turning up. The wins are not coming because you can only have first 11 when you start winning games for me, and that's where the problem is.
All right, now, consistently winning has got to be the problem. But going forward, we've got the quality. Now, the story from France will tell you we've got quality. Super Eagles striker Terry Murphy was on target for Lorient in their 2-2 draw at home against Monaco yesterday in the French Ligue 1. He's now scored 11 goals in the French top flight. It's a sum of goals with PSG's Brazilian star Neymar. Kylian Mbappe is in first place. The top scorer's chart after netting 13 times so far. And in yesterday's league clash with Monaco, Murphy scored in the 77 minutes, putting the side 2-1 ahead. However, a goal from Wissam Ben Yedder, 93 minutes in the clock denied Lorento 3 points in that particular encounter. Brel Mbolo had scored, giving Monaco the lead 61 minutes on the clock, but Dango Ouattara drew Lorient level 1-1. Now, the draw sees Lorient to occupy 6th spot, 32 points in the league standings. Well, the man is good, in France. We're hoping that, he would get a move away from his current club, the French Ligue 1 side in Lorient. Now, I remember Solorex, talked about the fact that the general transfer window isn't the best time for him to move. It's about consolidating what he's doing so far. He's scored 11 goals so far in the competition, continually build his stocks and see what offers come in the summer. You think that would be the best possible decision for Terry Murphy going forward, Emmanuel?
Well, it depends on what he wants, but in my own perspective, I think if a good offer comes, I think the young man should definitely move. Because we've seen players move in the summer, and at the end of the day, they become flops in the respective clubs.
Which would you consider more of a gamble? Moving in the January transfer window where you're not afforded so much time in terms of settling, you're expected to hit the ground running almost instantly when you move to the new club, but summer where probably you have pre-season, a lot of friendlies, a lot of time to acclimatize to the playing pattern, warm yourself up to your teammates and all of that ahead of the new campaign.
That's if a good offer comes in the summer. But if someone sees a good offer during the window transfer window, I think the person can definitely move. We've seen some players. Bruno Fernandes came to Manchester United during the winter transfer window, and he made a very big impact. And I can remember the last of Neman Yafidi and Patrice Evra also joined Manchester United in January transfer window, and they also hit the ground running right away. And we've also seen players moving in the summer, joining some top clubs during the summer, and at the end of the day, they go for pre-season, but when they return for pre-season, the main event starts, they fail to hit the ground running. But on the part of Terry Murphy, I think even if he moves in the summer, if a good offer comes, or he moves now, if a good offer also goes his way, I think it will be something to look out for, because the young man is very, very talented. He's very, very focused on what he's doing. And at this point in time, I think he's at the peak of his career when it comes to goal scoring. And if a good offer comes and he is able to replicate what he's doing at the moment, I think it will be something to look out for. But in my own perspective, I think I would like to see Super Eagles players join big clubs, irrespective of whether the offer comes in January or the offer comes in the summer, because when you have most of your players representing big clubs, playing more focused and more demanding football when it comes to winning silverware at the end of the day, I think it's something to look out for. It's a plus to their respective national teams. And if Super Eagles can trade on this direction, it will be something to look out for. It will also go a long way to also improve the ambition and the guest of Jose Pizarro.
Right now, congratulations. That is all we know that for the man Victor Osimhen. The Dubai Globe Soccer Awards honoring the Nigerian international with the Powerhouse Emerging Player of the Year award. Well, the man has been in prolific form, is currently playing for Napoli and for the Nigerian team. Well, received the award for his outstanding performance during the 2022. Now, in the 13th edition of the Dubai Globe Soccer Awards, organized by the Dubai Sports Council, held in November last year, stars of international football gathered with celebrities and guests to celebrate the annual event, recognizing the winners in 21 massive categories, and in the Emerging Player of the Year award, recognizing young players who stood out in the last season with their incredible performances. The winner of the category was Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen, who had a fantastic season in Serie A, establishing himself as one of the rising football stars in Italy and around the globe. Puts Victor Osimhen on the map, well, should propel him to even greater things, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I like that he's receiving the award at the time he's in form. He's scoring a lot of goals, so it makes a lot of sense. Good motivation for him, because one way or the other, when recognition comes, always talk about reward system. Sometimes it's not cash. A recognition, big reward system, you realize you've been doing something great, and you want to build on that. But at this point, he gets to realize he's no more young. He's gone past that 23 mark right now. He's at 24, 25. So now the responsibility is huge. I heard he had a kid too. So he's a big man now. So big responsibility by the club side and family. Big stuff for him to do. And I want to see Osimhen begin to act like a big player. He's doing that already. I want to see that consistency. He's no more that young player that got the award. He's the mainstay now. Everyone is talking about Victor Osimhen. They say he's the best striker in Serie A. Come on, take Napoli to win the league. That's how we know you're the best striker.
All right, now, Murray blindly talked about the fact that he needs to distinguish himself and stay there to be ranked among the proper elite football scorers in the world. What's the missing piece?
Right, maybe a trophy. You know, I want to talk about a trophy, but I look at Harry Kane. He's considered one of the best, you know, but has no trophy. But he's still seen as one of the best strikers in Europe right now. Basically, Madrid are going to get him if the stories of getting on the media is anything to come by, basically, for me. So I think for Victor Osimhen, he's got a lot. I think one thing that has been missing in his game is consistency. Yes, he's the fine striker, but injuries have not been affecting him. So if he can get a lot more consistency, like Daddy talked about the fact that he's not more young man, he shouldn't be considered as, you know, a lad, a young player. He's not becoming and building up to becoming a big star, a big name. So he has to get into the mode of a big game player, basically. You know, there are days where you have to carry your team by yourself to win games. No. That's what makes you a big player.
Now,
you know,
it's surprising, you know, sort of like that. You know, we talk about Victor Osimhen, and a lot of people say, well, he's young, he's got a lot going forward, he's got a lot to learn. But it's on the same story, it's on the same conversation with Erling Haaland, who's younger. Haaland is younger, right? Now, he should be considered a young star, but more often than always is Victor Osimhen considered the young star, and Erling Haaland is seen as the near finished product. Why so?
Well, right, you need to, you know, compare, you know, the process he started his footballing career as well. You know, Erling Haaland probably will have, you know, the upper hands in terms of structures, facilities, you know, from where he started as well, you know, compared to Victor Osimhen, who is a Nigerian, who will probably get to struggle before you have the best of facilities, you know, going forward in that particular encounter. But aside from that, you know, Victor Osimhen has been very good, you know, to considering the fact that where he came from Lille, you know, to Napoli, taking the club, you know, on the shoulders, you know, to record that game against, you know, Roma. Mari made mention of him not always sparkling, you know, in big games, taking the team forward as well. I think Victor Osimhen, you know, possesses that kind of character as well, but it's just the matter of time. Give Victor Osimhen, you know, probably the next 2 years. He's a Nigerian guy, you know, African player, to be very precise around, to be very precise, Bright. You know, we don't really, you know, have the leisure of time, you know, to probably give those guys particular. But Bright, Victor Osimhen is very, very good as well. Give him time. Maybe last season he scored, he was on double figures. This season he's already on double figures on January as well. Bright, maybe before the end of the season, this guy might bang you 20, 15 goals as well.
I think for me the difference is consistency. The difference is consistency. Haaland, for instance, consistently been scoring from Molde to Salzburg to Dortmund, now to City. there's been a progression. I was seeing it consistently scoring goals every single season. He goes to play for the national team, he scores goals. For the 20, he scored, I think, 9 goals in a game for the other 20 team. So it's there. The records are there. 7 rather. The records are there. He's been consistent.
Scored 9 on the 17.
Yeah, on the 17 rather. The records are there. He's been scoring gradually. But Victor Osimhen had a rough patch, to life. At the under 17 World Cup, where he won it with the team back then, he was good. But went into oblivion at Wolfsburg. Had to, buy himself out to go to Charleroi in Belgium, and then from Belgium had to go to Lille. That was where we knew him from. Lille had to come to Napoli. So he's not had that consistent run of form, to Napoli. We're just seeing him get some consistency at Napoli. So if he can get a lot more consistent, then we can see him as a big player. Secondly, consistency, makes you become a better player. Look at Haaland. He's young, but he's grown into becoming a big player. That's because of the fact that he's going through everything. In the space of 4 or 5 years, we've seen him grow to become a big player because of how consistent he is. He's played against the best, he's played for the best, he's played with the best, basically. So that's why we're seeing Haaland as a bigger player as compared to Osimhen, because of the case of consistency.
Another thing here is that I think because Haaland is playing in the English Premier League, Manchester City, that has the whole of the spotlight. But if Osimhen can also come to Premier League or play in the Spanish La Liga and be consistent and be that because I think it will also.
I think it's a distinction, a matter of where Osimhen is playing, like in terms of the league.
No, I wouldn't want to say so. I think I love the point everyone has made, starting from Solarex. But look, Haaland's father was a footballer.
It runs in the blood.
So there's a pace already. There's a system already. He's from Europe. It's a lot easier. Look at Kylian Mbappe. Not only hate Europe, I can tell you if Osimhen was born in Europe, he would have gone through those rough parts he went through. It would have been a lot easier for him. But I love what Osimhen is doing by far for me, because it takes something to see an African perform the way he's performing. It takes a lot of work, a lot of doubts you have to overcome to perform at that level. I only have one worry for Victor Osimhen, yes. Very aggressive footballer. And I do not know the lifespan of African footballers. He doesn't have a long lifespan, as far as I'm concerned, especially when you are that aggressive the way you play. After a while, your strength level begins to dwindle. And what happens afterward? So this is a time for him to show a level of class, that level of consistency. The next 4 years, he has to be up there and banging goals, so we can remember him when he gets to dwindle in his career in terms of strength, because that's where he starts from.
All right, now we'll get talking a bit, but let's get to England and bring you the big stories from there, beginning from the game we saw last night. Games actually from the Carabao Cup, otherwise known as the EFL Cup. Mara, and of course Musa Jenepo scoring in the first half, space of 5 minutes actually. And of course that guided Southampton to the last 4 of the EFL Cup at the expense of the almighty Manchester City. And here's Pep Guardiola talking about that disappointment and the journey going forward. Pep.
They were better. We had a bad night. We didn't play good. We didn't react when good in the bad start. Yeah, we didn't perform well, and to win games. Yeah, I'm not talking titles. Win games, you have to deserve it. So I want to deserve, when I win something, I want to deserve it. And today it was not the case. That's why Southampton deserves to be in semi-finals in this competition.
It's not more frustrating that the attitude of players.
Attitude is always, it was a bad night. So I know them quite well, and today was not even close to what we are. So the past 3 days against Chelsea and today, so it's a big difference. So nothing to say. So they were better. And when they are better, you have to congratulate them, accept it, and improve.
All right, so that's Pep Guardiola talking about the fact that Southampton were a better side last night. Let's hear from the man Nathan Jones. Well, a massive win, massive night for him.
I wouldn't use any sort of adjectives or anything that would be derogatory, but I thought we were excellent as a team. I can only speak for my own team, and I thought right from start to finish we were aggressive, we were organised, we went after the game, scored 2 very good goals. had situations where we could have scored more as well. It wasn't like, as you said, it wasn't a smash and grab. We weren't defending for our life late on, and that shows that we got a lot of facets to our game, and I'm really pleased and really proud of the performance, proud of the players especially, but proud of the staff, because we've had to go through some stuff. You know, I've had people calling me out. I'm not this. I'm not. I've even had non-league managers calling me out saying I'm not good enough. So it's been a tough. You know, we've had to go through some tough things, but we showed today that we make sane decisions, we make good decisions, and I'm really pleased for that, because that's a reward for recent weeks, because regardless of results, we've been building performances.
All right, so that's a man, Nathan Jones. It's a massive night for him, Blyden. It's a night he won't forget in a hurry. Ticked all of his boxes, and he said something very glaringly. He said they were excellent tonight, can't doubt that, but they played with that aggression. There was no fear. The belief was there from the blast of the whistle, and that's what lasted them all through the entirety of that particular performance. I remember asking Solorex yesterday, is there anything for Southampton in that game? And he said, absolutely nothing. Pointing to the poor run of form, you know, in the league, and I said, well, this is a cup competition and it's quite different, and they identified it, went for it, and absolutely got it.
I remember Solomon's got the memo this morning. Terry told him. He talked about it on TV. But here's the thing for me. I love what the manager said. He said, based on the poor forms they've been building, but based on the poor form in the league, a lot of people get to doubt him, doubt the team, what they can do. I love what's happening. When you're being doubted, you come out and prove a point, and that's what he's done against Manchester City. But here's the point I want to make. We've seen City's bad form in recent times. Even after beating Chelsea 4-0, you could see if Chelsea could run, if they had a better mentality, they could have probably, who knows, made the game a bit difficult, but it wasn't. Fantastic game from Southampton. But one thing it goes to show, it shows me how bad Chelsea are.
All right, now, yeah, it shows how bad Chelsea are. But, Mario, one thing is very conspicuous. Now, when City meets a team that matches them grit for grit and is aggressive and play with a high level of energy, Pep Guardiola gets to struggle, be it Carlisle United, Oxford United. But if the energy is there, you stay in City's faces, they struggle. And that clearly can't be good for them. Post-World Cup, many would say they've been absolutely poor. As Blind rightly said, the only team that beat him convincingly after the World Cup has been Chelsea. And maybe it tells a story of where Chelsea are right about now in terms of the football card and their stocks considerably. Well, that has got to be a bad omen for Guardiola. How can he change that?
Southampton defeating City, Chelsea getting his stray bullet. Quite sad for me, obviously. You know, so, but entirely, I think that's the truth, basically, because it's not just post-World Cup. You know, any team that, I remember the Newcastle game where they played the draw against Newcastle. Newcastle matched them toe-to-toe, hits by hits, energy for energy, and going to draw in that particular game. So that's the story. And then secondly, once you score Pep 2 goals, you know, they become so confused, so muddled, so dumbfounded that they don't even, they lack coordination, and that's the story. So kudos to Southampton. You know, I saw them play. That thing that City does in trying to win second ball, so Southampton doing it last night. Southampton winning second ball, so trying to, you know, hit, you know, the wingers as much as possible, and that was the story. But I don't think Pep expected what happened to him yesterday, because first off, he benched his key players ahead of the game against United on Sunday, and then try to bring them in the second half as a contingency plan. Never worked out for him.
Sorry, there was too much quality even in that starting lineup. And on a very good, in fact, you know, 8 out of 9 times that starting level would pummel Southampton.
Absolutely, Brett. I think, you know, it was a reality check on Chelsea, you know, considering the fact that, you know...
On Chelsea?
Sorry, on Man City as well.
Wow.
Well, I know that was deliberate. I can tell you for free, that was deliberate.
Wow.
Right? There's a reality check.
Sorry, Nolax.
Right?
but here's the thing also for me, when it has to do with City. I think it's been coming. Most often than not, you see the quality of players they've got. Decent players. I think for me, they need to add more additions to that team right now, the way it is. Sometimes when you're performing quite well and your players are aging, you don't really get to know it. Slow and steady, they're beginning to get to the 30 years mark, the likes of De Bruyne, Gundogan, and the rest. And they're not more pacey as they used to be, but we're still having this mentality that they're still sharp. Maybe Pep has to look into that, because you can have all these quality players scattered around. And another thing is, the problem with City has always been building a machinery of attack. So when you match them and stop that attack, it's a problem, because they can't basically defend.
All right, now 0902223101027 6248565. A glorious night for Nottingham Forest. Definitely find scored for Nottingham Forest in the 18th minute. Raul Jimenez equalized in the 64th. And when he went down to penalties. Waddell Nunes, Morgan Gibbs White, and Matthews Cunha all scored for the respective teams. But James Hodge missed a decisive sports kick after a callback had scored his. That sent Nottingham Forest into the last four. Forest rather in the FL Cup semi-finals. Should make for an interesting encounter. Lionel Messi scored PSG games into World Cup win. Let's talk about other stories to the video. See, join the conversation now on 090-222-310-102-7624-8565. Welcome, football fan, name location. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, top gunner.
And do the job. More award is coming on his way. The Mary Stadium, EPA champion are humbled by defense. They did a great job watching that match. Nobody expected it. That didn't boost their confidence. Advanced Pep to fully concentrate on winning Champions League this season, or else they will go trophyless. Then break my transfer gossip. Obama wants to go back to Barca. He's a super flop. Let him remain there. There are land that Barca wants to sell Rapina. They refuse to come to Arsenal and please. Wonders are happening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining. We appreciate you. Keep the calls coming. Real Madrid beat Valencia on penalties in the Spanish Super Cup by semis at the King Fahd Stadium in Saudi Arabia. Karim Benzema's penalty put the European and La Liga champions ahead before Samuel Lino leveled just after the hour mark, but went down to penalties, 4-3. That's how it ended, while Ere Come missed his and Thibaut Courtois saved Jose Gaia's effort, and that was the difference. Welcome, football fan, name location. Good to have you join us.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Brian.
Yeah, welcome, Victor.
Good afternoon, Clarence and the Arizona. I just meet Victor. Let me say that with the greatest pleasure and delighted to speak with you this afternoon. Let me talk about the match that my team Chelsea is about playing this night. I know that the way things are going, we thought that maybe a run off or a right off for Chelsea, but it's football. So we, the team, Chelsea, must do our best to bring back even the new players and everything. So from bottom of this try, if it gets back some 3 points to help the lot for the team, that's my big thing.
Thank you very much, Victor, for joining. We appreciate you. Welcome, football fan. Your name, your location. Good to have you join us here and now.
Just leave me alone.
Nolas.
Can you people just leave me alone? Yes, Nolas.
Sorry, Nolas. It's Solarex. Not really.
That Manchester United fan, now you're happy. You've been winning game. Rashford is scoring goals. You still don't appreciate. You're happy and you're getting that. Don't just. Okay, Chelsea got Brazil. Now you have run to get one two goals because he scored 2 goals against Argentina. Just 2 goals in the World Cup and you have run to get one goal. We have Burnley and basic that why they have blown it up, why they have blown him out. You know how to just run to get him, and now you've been talking about Chelsea and talking about Chelsea. Well, all these things I blame the UK government. They have to be able to think about. Because if the UK government did not sanction Chelsea and Chelsea was being sold, all these things wouldn't be happening. Well, anyhow it is. I just want to tell you guys that Chelsea will win today's game at 3-0, and for your Felix, it's a big fraud that Atletico Madrid is getting £11 million and we are covering all his salaries and he has signed 1-year contract. That's too much. Well, Napoli has the money to spray around, so I don't blame him. It's not my money, it's his money. I just hope they get start doing well. For today's game, 3-0. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll walk down that road with you. Welcome. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sport analyst Mr. Easy on the line.
Thanks for joining us, Mr. Easy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me quickly comment on the Chelsea issue. I've heard that Chelsea have already signed 3 players, and they are also about to bring in this France guy, Thuram, to their team. I want to ask Chelsea board, what are they spending for? Are they spending this money to stand in the 11 in the position on the table? I am scared. Look at Joy Felix, another flop from Atletico Madrid. How could such expensive player can go to loan on English Premier League? Another Stanley, because I see him struggle with the blue color. So Chelsea board and the new manager should be very, very careful the way they spend unnecessary
all right, Mr. Easy.
player. So I wish Liverpool to add me one midfield in this January. Up Liverpool.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Bright.
Yeah, UK.
Yeah, good to. You know, as a Chelsea fan, I have prepared my mind daily for stray bullets. Yes, it comes with the package of being a football fan. And you know, we've been receiving stray bullets from day one. And I blame only one person for this, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, because now he caused all these things. If you had not gone to Ukraine, all this will not be happening. We'll have the Roman Abramovich era. And believe me, Graham Potter would not even step foot in the PA to the coach's room of Chelsea. Come on, it was just a very, very ugly move, a very serious downgrade. Like, Chelsea are now a championship team. That is just pop and plain. And by the way, I'm on loan currently at Arsenal. And
Oh, wow.
but it doesn't matter. London is London.
I see. I'm going to Fulham. I'm going to Fulham.
Yeah,
On Crystal Palace.
Love for the red color. So it's normal thing. We will survive. We'll survive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, UK, for joining. Appreciate you. Welcome, football fan. Name location.
No, Bright.
Yeah. Okay.
Bright. Bright, you can never tell me that people talk about this. You know the problem of Chelsea. Chelsea have no problem. The problem of Chelsea is grand gutter which is there. There's no other thing. They don't have coach. Chelsea does not have coach. Tombu put something about that thing. That is number one. Number two is, how can you tell me about, I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to talk, please.
Sorry.
I don't want to talk.
Sorry.
Bye-bye.
All right, okay. So sorry about that. All right, keep your calls coming as we'll head to Facebook in a bit and hear from Graham Potter, who's standing by to tell us about the game against Fulham later tonight and how he looks to reverse the poor form of the club.
Hello, good afternoon,
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Francis Kazola. I'm calling from Tamalakala Park. I think I want to talk about Victor Osimhen. And I want to let Blighty know something. You know, it is very easy to say that this team is not good or this player is not good. When you say this player is not good, you are off the pitch while the player is on the pitch. The player knows exactly what happened to him in the pitch exactly. You only saw it. This is why Victor Osimhen is there. It's because of he's a coach and he's a manager. Now the truth is this, Nigeria has a better player that can play very well, but we have solved the problem of ourselves. Because if Petero now say, okay, for instance, Victor Osimhen, I don't want you to start my match. I want to go to start. They will begin to shout, why will keep Victor Osimhen and play this person? That Victor Osimhen is better than this person. How do you know Victor Osimhen is better? The coach that is there, that sees when to explain and has what or the most fitness at the training ground. But we as an analyst now or fans, so we shouting, we should be Victor Osimhen to play, to start ahead of next person. So the truth is, we should not always, we should give Victor Petero the chance to see how we can do better. Then there was like this, obviously about the Arsenal transfer, about Modric.
All right. Wakanda Modric. Welcome, football fan. Communication.
Good afternoon, Brian.
Yeah, Joe.
Yes, Nigeria and Radford analyst. Victor's achievement is a big thing for us, especially those of us who are Nigerians. Because I was thinking by the time he had that serious problems with his family, there would be a problem on his career. But I think we should continue to get all the blessings. And that big player mentality grows big on the same side of the not matter. For Chelsea this afternoon, this night, tonight, I think we are unfortunate is the coach who could not give us his first 11. I don't know what will be his selection. But however, should need something from Southampton. That is a big thing. And he'll be able to give us maybe at least a win today for us to have hope. Especially those of us who are satisfied. Thanks for having me, Brad.
Thanks, Joe, for joining. I'll keep having hope. Welcome, football fan. Name and location. Yeah, if you
like you said, indeed it was a different competition for Southampton against you. I want to say congratulations to their coach. People are saying that Manchester City no longer good. But for me, I look at it as, it's one of the surprises that happened in English football. City, for me, them crashing out the Carabao Cup is an opportunity for them to go ahead and prepare very well for Champions League and fighting for their place. As for Chelsea against Fulham this evening, I want to wish Chelsea 3 points, maximum 3 points. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining.
Hello, Bright.
Yeah, okay.
I'm back.
All right.
I was annoyed. That is why I called the phone. I just want to greet you. Continue your good job. Others talk sports and others do burial. But you yourself will teach sports. Continue teaching them how to say sports. You're a professor. Continue your good job.
Professor Bright.
And it's Okonkwo
Oh.
of Blessed Memory.
Oh.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you very much, okay,
Yeah.
for joining. Le professor. Welcome, football fan. Name and location. Good to have you join us. Yeah. Welcome, Nelson.
Very much. But I have noticed that to blame every other person than themselves for misfortune or for evil life. Now they are blaming the war in Ukraine, they are blaming Russia for their inability to do well.
Win games.
I wish them well anyway. But now that they have signed about 3 players so far, I don't want to believe that they are signing a pick in the book. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. The idiomatic expression is quite it. Thank you for joining. Well, here's Graham Potter.
The higher you go, the more pressure there is from the outside, I guess. Pressure, noise, whatever you want to describe it as. And especially at a club like Chelsea, the responsibility, the history, the tradition of the club, the demands of the club. Whenever you don't get the results that you want, then of course there's noise, there's criticism, there's everything that you'd expect. Then you just have to try to put it into perspective and try to keep going with your job and keep trying to improve and stay strong and get through. I think you only have to look at some of my colleagues in a similar position. Heck, for example, in his first season would have been criticised, I think, quite heavily. I think Mikel Arteta has had to endure quite a period of criticism. I think Jurgen Klopp in the first few years would have got some criticism as well, and these guys are fantastic. So you understand, and I think football is, it's emotional. When you lose, you don't really think about it. You feel it. You feel the pain, you feel the suffering, you feel the discomfort, and sometimes it's hard to understand the why, and it's easy just to blame somebody. So. And I'm sitting here saying, well, it's not like I've been absolutely perfect, so they're not completely wrong. But I think it's always very complex, and you just try to put it into perspective. You try to remember that you're capable. You try to remember how you got here, and 2 months ago I was considered to be a top coach, and if you consider the people that I've played against and played with, and they would probably say the same. But at the same time, I also acknowledge that the results we have haven't been good enough for us, and then you have to accept and deal with it as best you can, and try to put it in perspective and keep moving forward.
That's Graham Potter. Well, we need to listen to the full stretch, and listening to that, Mari. What does that? What does that tell you?
I really don't know why you chose me, Bright, but I'm going to talk. Actually, I think first of all, I'm disappointed. Here's why. Coaches have come and gone to Chelsea. You're not the first coach, to come to Chelsea. You can't just tell me, give him excuses about Pep Guardiola, give me excuses about Mikel Arteta. I'll be able to understand how the rough start to campaign, but of course, you had a chance. I think what he's saying gives me an impression that he never expected when it came to meet at Chelsea. He thought Chelsea was going to be Brighton, where the demands are a lot more underwater. At Chelsea, the stakes are higher, and I think he's just realizing that right now. That's why he's making these confessions that, well, he didn't realize this and all of that. That's a conversation for me. It's quite sad.
I'm not sure Blindon said he didn't realize that. He just talked about football being an emotional game. And
that's the
chocolate of expectation.
That's the predisposition. Now, before he was at Brighton, his best finish at Brighton was 9th position. Yeah, but right now Chelsea at 10th. And if it was Brighton at 10th, it would be understood. But you're Brighton, but it's Chelsea. That's the conversation. So you didn't realize that you were coming to Chelsea.
Mari, take it easy.
That's why I said you shouldn't have asked me.
No,
Mari, take it easy. Yeah. I remember on TV you told me I'm the emotional one, looking forward to Chelsea. But now you're going with that. Come on.
No, so Blindon. It looks like he knows the situation now. He knows the difficult situation they're in. How do they navigate their way past this?
Does he know the difficult situation? That's the question. Because listening to him, this is what
but he's acknowledged that.
Yeah, it's difficult. What he's saying is, indirectly, I'm like, Arteta, give me time. First season going to be rough. Afterwards, we'll pick up. He's saying,
I'm like Klopp.
And afterwards, we'll pick up. I'm like Pep Guardiola. Before I came, I was a good coach. I'm still that good coach, don't worry.
Yeah, my colleagues know I'm good.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. So Chelsea fans, sorry. He's saying.
Right, here's the thing.
Is he a bad coach?
Well, he's not a bad coach, but at this point in time, has he got what it takes? Does he have the technical know or the cutting edge to survive at Chelsea?
This is the conversation. Now, the difference between Graham Potter of Brighton and the Graham Potter at Chelsea and the criticism now we're talking about is the results.
The problem here is that
now, so now we're not talking about the way he plays or some of the things he does. The distinction many people talk about now is just the results. So if the results come good, then maybe a lot of people forget about what's happening. The transfer policy, Todd Boehly being sporting director and everything happening.
Now, I think it starts from the way he's playing. Look, at Brighton, you're not under pressure, taking the games to the opponent. You sit back, you block, and guess what happens? Probably you get a result at the end of it. You fight from the backside, from the rear side. And that's why whenever I see Graham Potter do that clapping, when he misses a shot, he stands up and clap. That's Brighton stuff. Because come on, you're encouraging them. At Chelsea, he's supposed to take the ball to the opponent. So when they miss the ball, you get angry. You see Pep do that, he gets upset. It's a mentality thing. I think he's not gotten the balance yet.
It's Kani Chukwuemeka. It's Hall.
Brad, it's two environments here. Brighton and Chelsea. Anything that comes out of Brighton, they finish they are in the 10th position, 11th position, 15th position.
This man played a 1-1 draw with the Council and said it was a hard-end draw.
No.
Right, I want to cry. Man. He did a 1-1 draw. The Council losing five in a row. He said it was a hard-end draw.
Solex, please take us to Facebook and calm down the emotion. Mari's getting a little over the top.
From the sports page. I start from Mizaro Joy. Say when God wants to favor someone, he helped them remove the strongest hindrance they could have faced.
Graham Potter.
They could have faced to overcome using a more weaker team. More weaker means, and then it's left for the person to clear up the way by achieving his own success. You can see that Manchester City got eliminated from the Carabao Cup last night to a less rated Southampton team, paving the way for my darling Manchester United to redeem us of 6 years trophyless run. Eric Ten Hag is Moses over time. Glory.
Oh, nice.
Then Israeli comes in and says, "Good afternoon, Planet Sports School. I have never felt sorry for a team like this before. There is nothing the law can do. I urge Chelsea to go forward the enemy we see today, we shall see them no more. And I hope the Blues won't be fooled and harmed today. It's really the Ghana fan from Oyo. Edidion Odofia comes and says, good afternoon, Planet Sports Crew. Southampton defeat to Manchester City. That's one Chelsea twice shows the weakness of the so-called Potter. Let the right Potter, the weakness of the so-called Potter. Let's be right. Potter is not the man for the job. Chelsea, I'm losing interest gradually in watching Chelsea games. Save us, please.
That's it. All right.
Yeah, right. Also from the live feed, Samanino Sanfresh says, I personally thank Southampton for removing City from the Carling Cup. At least they have helped us register that trophy. As supporter, what was expecting even Brighton and coming to Chelsea at the time. Chelsea were in crisis. As for me, I don't think Chelsea will give him the time. He better start with winning. Lydion Udofia says Southampton defeated City. I won Chelsea twice. That shows weakness of so-called Potter. Let's be right. Potter is not the man for the job.
All right. Now let's do some transfer stories. United have agreed a deal to bring in Vos Vegas from Besiktas. Chelsea eye Walker Peters of Southampton. Welcome, football fan. Name and location. Good to have you join us.
Hello, good afternoon, the group. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Well, welcome.
Yes, thank you. I want to say that, yesterday match, I am not happy with Catiola. Why I'm not happy with Catiola is that always undirects the team. Look at what he did yesterday. Started with the team B. How do you take people so simple? I didn't even know what Catiola is always doing. As you know, this guy's level, like if it is the dedication team, he didn't even perform as Man City. When I watch it, and I think it is.
Sorry.
Let him know that the way he is going is not good. Let him take everything seriously. Whatever the match is going to play, let's think normal big guys. Look at the eye come play. Later he coming out to put all those big guys. What are you going to do now? A little Southampton that being dedicated. Look at the Chelsea. I've been giving Chelsea almost 4-0. A little Southampton is giving that. It's not good. Tell him if you see him that he should be careful what he did.
Right. Thank you. Now, Chelsea is making headlines again. Now, they've drawn with 5-man shortlist of midfielders for the summer, and it has Benfica's Enzo Fernandez, Brighton Hove Albion's duo, Moses Caicedo, and Alexis McAllister. West Ham United's Declan Rice and Borussia Dortmund's Jude Bellingham are on that list, according to the Telegraph. So let's wrap up with the stories from Facebook in a bit, but Mari, 2-3 topical transfer stories.
Liverpool are trying to roll the dice and get 3 midfielders in the window transfer window. Moises Caicedo of Brighton, Sofiane Amrabat, and of course Mikel Merino of Real Sociedad. According to the reports we are getting right now, Chelsea are pushing for another striker, and Marcus Thuram is a man that has come in the lips of these players. Newcastle are getting looking to target United target Milinkovic Savic from Lazio, looking to bring the man to add to the quality at that Newcastle side. West Ham are set to get Teddy Murphy after they could not get Youssef Nesri. And that's the story. And Murphy is rated £25 million as we speak to you, and West Ham ready to pay that money for the Super Eagles International. And there's also a story that Memphis Depay is set to join Atletico Madrid as a replacement for Joao Felix, who joined Chelsea just yesterday.
All right, so like Facebook.
2 more comments comes from Engineer Prince Gosgi. Say, good afternoon, Planet Sports Crew. I'm Akwanika from Biagon Ukan. Please, I want to know any updates from Arsenal FC. Congratulations to Southampton for winning Manchester City. Xavier Archibald finally says, good afternoon, Planet Sports Crew. I want Arsenal to complete the signing of Modric because it's getting longer and longer. Congratulations to Martin Odegaard for winning the player of the month of December. Wishing Arsenal a victorious North London debut against Spurs on Sunday. Up Gunners.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Chelsea in action later tonight, taking Fulham, Real Betis, Barcelona, Fiorentina, Sampdoria, Roma, Genoa. We're back here tomorrow in the morning, 7:30 to 8, and back in the afternoon with more football stories. Thank you, Blyden. Thank you, Mari. Thank you, Solorex. Thank you, Emmanuel Edet. Thoroughly appreciate you. I'm Bright James. We're out. Up next, the news updated 4, and of course, touchdown Thursday on the other side. Stay right here with us.